Hey, my name is Henry Tregenza. I'm 23 years old, and I was a DRT concentration at graphic communication at CalPoly, and I graduated in the year 2020. Like at this point in my life, choosing GRC was at CalPoly was probably the best decision that I've currently made. I actually grew up since seventh grade. I have lived in Pismo Beach, Arroyo Grande area, so that's about 20 minutes south of San Luis Obispo. And I mean, when I was a senior in high school, all I wanted to do was get out of the Central Coast, and I didn't even apply to Cal Poly. And so when my parents brought up the idea, I guess I didn't want to apply at Cal Poly, but my mom was like, "You should, because it's close." And I hated the thought, but actually that changed like as soon as I toured the campus, because I know Building 26 may not be the most impressive Cal Poly architectural building, but once I was inside, walking around, seeing all the student work, I was like, "Yes, this is what I want to. This is what I want to be." And yeah, my mind changed like over the course of an hour. You get exposed to so much that you will use or gain value from throughout your career in the early stages, and I'm sure even in the later stages. And a lot of it might seem, irrelevant in the moment, but it's probably just because you haven't experienced the full picture yet. And there's just so much that the wide array of classes actually provide to you that you may not realize now, but will come in clutch. And that's facts. I came into NeoCharge as the second full-time hire with the title of creative director. And that's a pretty big title for someone who's just out of college and doesn't really know what's going on. But that being said, as the creative director, I was then in charge of packaging UX UI for our app, web design for our website. We did a rebrand where I had to come up with an entire brand for the company, and it wasn't perfect, and there's been some mistakes along the way, but because all of this is customer facing and just shows in the face of the company, and as a single individual, you're having to do all of it, you're learning so much about what actually goes into each of these things. In comparison to working at a big company, a startup is like, it's really almost freeing. You have, as the creative director, I have full control over art direction, constantly learning new stuff and adapting on the fly. There's so many days where I'll have a plan set up on what I need to accomplish, and something comes up, and it's just like, all right, well, we're doing this today instead. You work with amazing people. Pretty much everyone, especially at least on the NeoCharge team, but I've seen this in a lot of the other companies around from Cal Poly, that everyone is just so willing to learn and help people out and push themselves. And when you're around that energy, it's super just empowering and energizing, and it makes you really stoked to get up and actually get after it and start your work day. Along with that, in the early stages of a company, you're leaning on a lot of people with more experience, especially our team is two 25-year-olds and two 23-year-olds. So we don't have a lot of that wisdom. And being around and exposed to the advisors on the team, just they have such so much to offer, and such just a yearning to just help out and say, I made this mistake when I was in your shoes, I wouldn't do it that way. And it's just really cool, positive energy to be around. Inspiration, this is so cheesy, but inspiration is everywhere. And especially on Pinterest. We all love Pinterest. I think that's a great place you can type in anything and get ideas for a mood board and inspiration. But I recently was taught about the concept of deep work, which is, if you're not familiar, the idea of putting aside all distractions, making sure that when you do need to sit down and get something done, you are just focusing on that. No shifting to answering emails or text messages. Set aside just 1 to 2 hours where that's your main focus. And I've been practicing that a lot over the past couple of weeks. And when you have your mood board up, you've been on Pinterest and you're like ready to go, that's your brain actually has just trying new things, and Command C, Command V, just like keep the energy flowing and focus on it, and it's really helpful. The other inspirational person for design is Aaron Draplin. If you're not familiar, he's this big old dude from Portland with a massive beard and just a huge personality, and he's done stuff like Nike Air Max logo, and Bootcraft just went through a rebrand. He did that. And one thing that he preaches that I think is really valuable, well, two things. One, hard work pays off. And if you do your due diligence and you work hard, usually that does end up paying off. And two, it's save time to help the little guy, I guess. Maybe that's how you would say it. He has this story in one of his YouTube videos that he once did a logo for a food truck just for one of their hot dogs. And that was the payment he received. There's nothing really at the time. It doesn't seem like a lot for an entire logo, but that logo has ended up getting him so much exposure because everyone sees it and it's like, whoa, that's killer. Like, who did that for you? He's made so many important relationships and had future clients just from designing a logo for a hot dog. So it's almost just like keep your mind open to like the upside of each situation rather than what's actually you're getting out of it.